want to shift gears a little bit and talk about your Naxos CD. It's just a ton of Renaissance and Baroque music, and I have to ask, what made you get into that? Like, what made you want to record that style?
Good question. I'm not sure if there was a particular reason for it. I just started really loving kind of the purity of that kind of music, like real, music based on fifths and kind of square intervals, fourths and fifths, and the early music, it's so resonant with that kind of. I can't really explain why. It was just a certain kind of sound that I started really enjoying.
Yeah.
And I found that with Baroque and Renaissance music, I found that there were ways I could play it, which I really enjoyed and was more creative than I had before. So as I would find ways more creatively to play it, the more I enjoyed it, because I felt like, wow, I'm really finding my voice with this,
Right.
And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They get into a style and they kind of get into finding their voice in that style, and then they learn all about that style. That's kind of what happened to me.
Gotcha. Have you ever played on a period instrument or anything like that, like a Baroque guitar or viola?
Oh, I would love to have a Baroque guitar and a Baroque lute. Actually, I really think about that, like having a collection of early string instruments. I'd love to have that. I've played a viola a few times. Very hard for me to do it. It's like my hat's off to somebody like Julian Bream who can just switch hats, or Paul Odette, like right in the middle of a concert switch instruments.
Yeah.
I find it very alien, but I could see with time, I'd like to learn those instruments. But in time, I'm still like learning the guitar really for myself.
Yeah. So would you coach anybody that was playing a period instrument? Like, would you feel comfortable doing that? Or?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's just music.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we would probably just talk about pulse and the way it swings. I mean, I studied with a harpsichord teacher named Albert Fuller, and he knew nothing about the guitar. And he was always like, it's got to dance, you're not dancing. It's, this is the dance. And he would show me the dances, and I'd understand how the pulses would work. But he knew nothing about the guitar, so, but he was brilliant as a teacher, a fantastic guy.
What guitars are you playing nowadays? Like, who built your guitars, and what made you choose them?
I only play on one guitar, which is a Greg Byers 1993. That's the only guitar I play on.
Gotcha.
I have one other guitar here, which is a spare. It's from Jim Norris, who's a friend of mine who died years ago, and Jim gave it to me as a gift before he died. So I have that guitar here, but that guitar is unplayable. Unless you have like gorilla hands, it's really, the action's almost an inch off the fretboard.
Yeah. So what made you choose Byers?
I met Greg at the GFA in '93, and I just loved the guitar. It was a beautiful guitar. It was really clean, really balanced, round based. So I was like, hey, I want to buy this, and that's what happened. After I won the prize money, I went and bought the guitar.
It's a good use for prize money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about competitions a little bit. So you've won some major competitions, the GFA, the Targa competition. How do you prepare for those things?
They're like marathons, basically. When I did Targa, which was the GFA was a little different, because GFA, I didn't really have any idea about how I was going to do, and I just kind of looked at it as like, well, this is just fun, let's just try. And I didn't really, I just wanted to play my best, and that was it. With Targa, it was a little bit more like, okay, I know I'm up against some serious players. I mean, this is a big competition in Europe. So that one, I would say I worked probably for 2 months straight. And, learning the rep and drilling the rep by about a month before, literally going through the whole program, which was about 2 hours worth of music, during the whole day. I go through all the pieces the whole day. But it was lovely, because it was the summer and I was in Greece, and it was fantastic.
Is there like a mental aspect that you have to expect when you go into those competitions? Like, Is that pretty intense?
You know, when I was doing competitions, I was in my 20s, and back then I would say, yeah, that feeling like, you know, you have to be really serious about those kinds of things. I think that probably weighed pretty heavy on my mind. Nowadays, though, I don't think I would treat any of it very seriously. In fact, the best people who ever won competitions, they always just had a good time when they went. So, I mean, the main thing I think with competitions is if you're going to do them, like, go there enjoying the experience, because it really is a fantastic experience. And you meet some amazing musicians, and you know, it's just, no matter what happens.
Right. Do you think that doing competitions, do you think that that's an important thing for young guitarists to do, or?
No, not necessarily. If they don't want to, it's fine.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, I've met really great players who've told me stories of, you know, disastrous competitions. And they just felt like, you know, that's not for me. And they did fine, you know. I mean, you know, people have careers, they find ways. I just think competitions are kind of an interesting, kind of a nice test, you know. Like, it's kind of, it can be fun, but you got to treat it like it's not so serious. You're going there to improve your playing. I mean, that's how I used it. Okay, we have to learn all this repertoire and play in front of a lot of people, and it's high pressure, and you know, I'll learn a lot from this, so let's do it.
Yeah. Anytime you play in front of a room of guitarists, it's high pressure, though.
Oh man, you know, every time you miss, they're like, "I know he missed," you know.